Woo! I got tired just watching that kid, I tell you. Now, the first time I saw that video, my initial thought was, where are the parents? They leave this kid all alone during that entire time. No, I reassure you that the parents were in the room the whole time. We just edited them out of the video. But we wanted to show that today, one, because it was a very energetic and cute kid, but also because it illustrates early learning. Babies are born learning every day, and everyday moments are learning moments. In the video, when you saw him touching and picking up objects, he's learning motor skills. When he's rolling around the room, he's learning spatial awareness. And one thing you don't see, because it was edited out, are the social skills that he was learning by interacting with his parents while he was going through his various activities. That's why we work today to ensure that all children in Washington are happy, healthy, and ready for their first day of kindergarten. And we're able to do this through the important work of the foundation and also of supporters like yourselves. And I want to take a moment to thank our sponsors again, the Boeing Company, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Casey Family Programs, Committee for Children, Costco, Laird Norton Tyee, Microsoft, Muckleshoe Indian Tribe, and Seattle Children's. Can we give them all a round of applause? There's a full listing of all of our supporters in your program. 8 years ago, when I became involved with the Foundation for Early Learning, I believed that we were all connected to early learning. When I first got started, my 3 daughters were all beyond the early learning phase. However, I realized that their experiences as children really informed me on what early learning was all about. And I'll share with you some personal stories. My wife and I were blessed to have 3 daughters 15 months apart. It did include a set of twins, so we're not a medical miracle. And before I go any further, the twins are here today, and today is their birthday. So if you can join me. Adrian and Allison are celebrating their birthday together. Adrian lives here in Seattle, and Allison lives in Southern California. As I said, we had 3 daughters. Tiffany, our oldest, showed very strong verbal skills at a very early age. And at one day, she and her mom were having a conversation, and her mother said to her, "You'll probably make a good lawyer. You like to argue." Well, I'm proud to announce that on May 14th, Tiffany will graduate from the University of Houston Law School. Adrian, who is the oldest of the twins, Adrian displayed some special skills as a youth, is that she was very thoughtful and very observant as a young child. As she watched her older sister Tiffany and her twin sister Allison stumble around and try to learn how to walk, we realized that Adrian never really went through that phase. She sat on her bottom, she watched her 2 sisters run into things and stumble and fall, and one day Adrian stood up and walked across the room. That was her learning style, and today she's involved in the staffing business where she connects people in the employment area. Allison, the youngest by 2 minutes, was very fond of scissors and tape and cardboard and paper. And so she showed a very strong kinesthetic awareness, and she liked to cut things and tape and put them together. And today, Allison is an architect. So I share these stories with you because I realized when I got involved with Foundation for Early Learning, I had a lot of awareness around what early learning meant and how it really helped to form the minds of the children and help them become better human beings and better citizens for our society. I'm also the proud product of what I call preachers and teachers. So I have the influence of educators in my family that, again, helped inform me on why this work is so important and why my work with the Foundation for Early Learning can make a difference. So I know firsthand what it means. And of course, I guess I was an early learner once myself, and I guess Joe's going to show a real cute picture of me somewhere. When I say that we're all connected to early learning, I mean everyone, and I truly mean everyone. Every interaction with a child, every engagement with a child is a learning experience. Prior to the video, there were a variety of quotes displayed on the screen, and these were stories that you shared about your first memories as an early learner, whether it was singing in preschool, learning to finger paint, or reading with your mom and dad. Some of our first memories of learning experience that shape our entire future is really what the Foundation for Early Learning is all about, and that's why we're saying it guides our work. We believe that by changing the beginning, we can change the whole story. The story about my daughters are really what motivates me to stay and helps me stay committed to this work, because I know what it means and I know the difference that it makes helping children at the very beginning get the confidence and get the tools that they need to be good contributors to our society. So let's get started with our program. We're very fortunate today to have wonderful speakers, including Holly Martinez and Rob Glaser, our keynote. But first, I'd like to welcome to the stage the woman that makes my life a lot easier, the Executive Director of the Foundation for Early Learning, Vonetta J. Barton.
Thank you, Clyde. Wasn't he a very handsome young student? Thank you. And yes, this one is me, my early years as an early learner. So I want to thank all of you. Thank you so much for being here today. Many of you have been to our luncheon year after year after year. If you've attended a Foundation for Early Luncheon before, as a staff, board member, volunteer, guest, if you've been in this room as a supporter of Foundation for Early Learning, would you take a moment? I know you're eating. Will you take a moment and just stand? Please stand. Thank you very much. And what's exciting about that is for those of you who are sitting, I hope that my remarks will be I'll share remarks that will have you understand the important role that you can play. And I want to thank everyone for the work that you do to support young children. So Clyde shared that we all are connected to early learning, and that he also talked about the important first 5 years of a child's life. I'd like you to keep that in mind as I share some sobering facts with you. I recently read that each year, Washington State spends 4 times as much to send a prisoner, to house a prisoner, than it does to send a student to school. 4 times as much. Meanwhile, 50% of the children in Washington State start kindergarten unprepared. Those are just terrible statistics. They're heartbreaking, absolutely heartbreaking numbers. The challenges that face our educational system are so big that it can often seem like one person cannot make a difference. However, imagine if there was an organization that gave you the power to make an impact, to make a real impact. Imagine if there was an organization that helped organizations and communities dream up big ideas, not small ones, but big ideas. And then imagine if teachers and librarians, are the librarians in the house? I think they're on 2 different sides. The librarians are always here. Thank you for your support. I have my library card with me. So imagine if teachers and librarians, moms and dads, could take a spark of an idea and really transform it into a book drive, a preschool, a field trip, or something that you might remember from your childhood. So there is Foundation for Early Learning. At Foundation for Early Learning, we believe that everyone can participate in a child's life and make a difference in a child's life. Our organization provides community grants that launch early learning programs that get children kindergarten ready. We are focused on kindergarten readiness. We have a lot of partners in the room. There are those who focus on children 0 to 3, 0 to 5, 0 to 12, 0 to 18, 0 to 21, and 0 to 65. I have a friend here from Alzheimer's Association, so I know we should be thinking about the 80 and 90-year-olds, and we do. So with that being said, you're probably wondering, so well, how does this happen? What does it look like? Our work comes together because a parent and a community leader will apply for a grant, and then foundation staff with our committee will fund the best proposals. We also provide, guidance we provide guidance so that each project reaches as many children as possible. And because we encourage communities to work together, we're not only preparing children for kindergarten, we're also building stronger communities. We're making stronger community connections. Since our founding, we have served over 130,000 children, parents, and child care providers. Our grant program has funded in every county of Washington State, all 39 counties, and this past year, our Early Learning Community Fair was attended by more than 30,000 people. Many of our partners with the Early Learning Community Fair in the room. So if you participate in the Early Learning Community Fair, please give yourselves a hand. So how does a staff of just 7 do this work? How do we serve all of Washington State? We do it by partnering with teachers, parents, and community leaders. These key people take great early learning ideas and we help them make it a reality. We love great ideas, and we love projects that are meaningful, projects that are manageable, and projects that are measurable. So let me share one with you. Last December, Sister Peggy Kennedy from Nuestra Costa applied for a grant from the Foundation for Early Learning to establish a Spanish language preschool, and this program is located in Sunnyside. Nuestra Costa was already providing English classes to Spanish-speaking parents. Now imagine trying to learn a new language and attend to the needs of a little one. Well, Sister Peggy saw that there was a great need to focus on the children alone. And so with funding and support from Foundation for Early Learning, Sister Peggy and others launched La Escuelita, the Little School, a preschool program that provides children ages 18 months to 3.5 years with quality school readiness activities while their parents study English. By partnering with the library, this preschool program fosters a love for reading. And twice a month, the staff and the children walk 3 blocks to the Sunnyside City Library for English and Spanish story times. So that's just one program. And what's great about this is the type of collaboration we love to see, community members working together. And so in addition to introducing children to the joy of reading, La Escuelita's staff meets with the parents, specifically the moms, to help them learn how to read with their children. And since the program started in last December, almost all of the parents have signed up for library cards. And so they are now reading at home with their children with more books than they've ever had before. So this early learning project is not only transferring the lives of children's parents and community, it's also making Washington State a stronger state. So now the story is not just about children in Washington State getting kindergarten ready. It's also about how a community member shared an idea with us, and we helped to make it a reality. We are like a little venture capital firm. Instead of launching a new tech startup, we launch early learning programs, effective and innovative early learning programs. And because anyone can donate to the Foundation for Early Learning, and anyone can apply for a grant, we all have the ability to engage in the educational opportunities in our state, and we all can get involved. So how can you help? Become our partner, subscribe to our newsletter, and tell your friends about us. Most importantly, though, please continue to give generously. Your donation today and your support in the future can make your ideas, like Sister Peggy's, a reality. If you remember just one thing, remember this: our success depends upon you, your collaboration, your ideas, and your donations. The future of early learning depends on our work, and the Foundation for Early Learning depends on your support. With that, I'd like to introduce Holly Martinez, who has definitely made the Cradle to College connection with her role as the co-founder of the Martinez Foundation. And Holly also serves on our board of ambassadors. Thank you, Holly.
Thank you, Vonetta. That's me at age 4. That was the only photo I had in email format. I'm grateful to serve on the Foundation for Early Learning's Board of Ambassadors because it gives me a front row view seat to see what's happening and the innovative work that they're doing in early education. Washington truly cares about the future of our students. And I'm proud to be associated with an organization that's making such great strides in early education. I truly believe in the work of the Foundation for Early Learning. Vonetta just shared with you a story, and I have one to share with you as well. Do you remember feeling nervous about your first day of school? Butterflies in your stomach? You most likely arrived at school not knowing what to expect. I remember that day for my 3 children. My youngest is in kindergarten right now, and that first day is huge. The first few days of kindergarten can shape whether or not you like school. Well, with support from the Foundation for Early Learning, a group in Cedro-Woolley is replacing those butterflies with a feeling of warmth and excitement. Nearly 50% of public school students in Cedro-Woolley receive free and reduced lunch. Removing the butterflies from their stomachs at the onset of their education can have long-lasting effects. With the grant and support from the Foundation, librarian Deborah Peterson and the rest of the members of Cedro-Woolley Early Learning League, SWELL, hosted a series of preschool nights where parents and caregivers could bring their 3- and 4-year-olds to see what kindergarten looks like. At these events, children practiced their ABCs, made leaf impressions, and created fairy tales through finger puppets. While these activities may sound simple, they highlighted deeper learning around math, science, and literacy, all very important building blocks to success in school. Over 240 parents and caregivers came to the last preview session. That is more than half of what they had anticipated. Now, instead of being scared, hundreds of children in Cedro-Woolley will enter kindergarten excited to learn. What a great idea. Well, I'm here to ask you to help make more of these great early learning ideas a reality. Our goal is to raise $225,000 today to launch innovative early learning projects just like this. Well, we're halfway there. Thanks to the sponsors and you, we've already raised $130,000. So that leaves $95,000 that we need to raise today, and we can do it. There are 400 of you in the room today, and if each of us gives $250, we'll make that goal. Think of it this way. $250 is $21 a month, the cost of dinner at a Mariners game. For those of you who'd like to give at the $100 or $1,000 level, please join me as a Chair Circle member. Your donation will help replicate the program that I have just described and launch programs that directly serve children. So please take the donation envelope from the center of the table. It's the small white envelopes. Write your name on it, and write a donation amount that is significant to you. This is important. It's exciting to see all the pens and checkbooks come out. Thank you for supporting the work of this wonderful organization. This is one of the smartest investments that you can make, a donation to the Foundation for Early Learning. Now I have the privilege of introducing our keynote speaker. Rob Glaser has been active in the software industry for nearly 30 years as an entrepreneur, executive, and investor. He is also the founder of Glaser Progress Foundation. Rob's most important title, however, is father of 3 early learning. Welcome.
Well, thank you very much, and I already know this is a very smart foundation because they did the ask before I started speaking, which was very wise, and there I am, looking very early 1960s. I'm honored to be here, but also a little bit intimidated because early learning is a topic about which, formally at least, I know very little. And I decided, actually, in accepting the gracious offer of the foundation to speak with you today, I stepped back and I thought, well, what do I know about early learning and how do I know it? And I realized that the people that I learned the most from about early learning are my parents. So I decided to have them join us today in a fashion. Just earlier this year, they live in Northern California. They're both in their 80s. I chatted with them, using my trusty little iPhone, about early learning and have a couple of short video clips about early learning. First, I just wanted you to meet them and learn a little bit about their educational backgrounds.
I'm Barbara Glaser, Barbara Carlin Glaser, and I am 83 years old.
I'm Jules Glaser, Rob Glaser's father.
And how old are you going to be in March?
I'm going to be 88 in March.
And talk a little bit about your early education. Where did you first start learning, and where did you grow up going to school?
I went to public school 167 to the 8th grade, and I was a pretty good student. I think I skipped one class, and then went on to San Benito Tilden High School.
What city, where was that?
All in Brooklyn. And after graduation, I went to Brooklyn College.
And before you, how many people in your family had gone to college?
In my immediate family, none.
And I know that I spontaneously learned how to read also. I remember I was reading the newspaper, because I don't think we had, when I was a kid, we didn't have a lot of books. So anyway, I was reading the newspaper and I got to an article where some woman was complaining that she was going to have a baby and the man wasn't willing to marry her. So I said to my mother, "What does it mean? How could she have a baby if they aren't married?" And I remember my mother's, "What are you reading?"
So gives you a little sense of my parents, and in fact, my dad's birthday is today. He's 88 today, so happy birthday, Dad. And my mom is actually 85. She followed the age-old tradition of women and their age. Her birthday was last month. So happy birthday, Mom, too. Both of my parents were actually the first to go to college, and they both really believed deeply in education, both in terms of the role that it played in their lives and also the investment they wanted to make in education for their children, and including early education. And I think we have, if the gentlemen in the back are ready, we have a second clip to show you about how they used early education and valued it for myself and my sister, who's 2 years older. And before school, before either of us started at kindergarten, what did you guys do to encourage our learning? Were there specific things you did, either intentionally or organically?
They went to a play school, a private group just about a block or two away from us. And that was really a successful experience for both kids. They went for a year or two.
That's right. They went for 2 years each. Robert he wanted to go so badly. Every time we'd go down and take Martha, it was just a walk down the hill. He would walk with us, and then he'd go in there and he'd get lost, and he'd get under the table or something. And I guess he thought maybe I'd forget about him and leave him there. And he really he wanted to get to that school badly. It was a co-op. We hired a teacher, but the assistants were the mothers. We had good luck with that co-op. I was the president for a while. We were able to hire good teachers.
What made them good teachers?
They were early education teachers that knew how to teach young children.
And what about math and reading? Did we just take to them naturally, or did you do things to encourage us?
I used to read to them every night, and at one point, I guess I read the comics. I was reading the comics to Martha, and all of a sudden, she took off. She started reading the rest of it, and she got so excited, she couldn't sleep that night.
How old was she at the time, do you think?
4, I think.
And in addition to that nursery school, what did you guys do to encourage us to learn?
Well, both of you have had questions about many things, and we tried very hard to give you answers. And sometimes I would have to say, I really don't know that answer. We'll go down to the library and see if we can find a book. You remember the playroom on the side of the living room was all windows. It started out to be a screen porch, and there were glasses put in there. And the TV was in the corner of that room. And you were watching it, and I saw you. You kept going to all the different windows, looking out. And finally you came in, and you said, I can't see it coming. And what couldn't you see? You couldn't see the picture coming. You were looking to see it out there. So I had to explain through some electronic magic. The picture was reduced to a little electrical element that came in over the wire. And we went down to the library and got a book that explained it better than that. So you stopped looking to see the picture flowing through the backyard. You believed that it came on the wire. That would be a hard thing to believe in the beginning, wouldn't it?
Well, as you see, my parents really valued early education, and I feel grateful for that. And when I step back and think about what they did for me and my sister in terms of how they oriented us towards education, I would isolate 3 basic ideas that they worked really hard to imbue in us, and that I believe in, and that my wife and I are in turn passing on. The first is that learning is fun. That's just a fun thing. And the second, which is related, is that asking questions is great. And if anybody who knows me, you may not feel that way, but you certainly know that I do. And then the third is that anything is possible, especially if you try hard enough. And those 3 principles, to me, are among the greatest gifts that any parent can give his or her child. I will certainly look back at my life and my professional career, and I think that those 3 elements have been associated with everything that I've done that's been successful. I remember in 1993, 18 years ago, when I first saw the Mosaic web browser. It was right before the internet started to become commercially mainstream. It was still just kind of a research thing. And it did text and it did pictures. And I remember asking the question, why doesn't this do audio or video? And then from that, well, how would we do it? And then coming up with what became real audio. And if you reflect on my mom's last comment, I guess you could just say I was thinking about the same problem for 30 years and finally come up with a new context in which to explore it. But it is actually, my view, there is a direct linkage between those values and what I've been able to accomplish in my life. And I'm grateful for that. When I look forward and look at my own experience, as Holly mentioned, my wife and I are parents of 3 early learners ourselves. We have 4.5-year-old twins and a 10-month-old. The twins were born in 2006, and the 10-month-old just last year. We've tried in our own way to share those 3 principles with our kids and to imbue them with those same values and those same ideas. And I think we've off to a decent start, at least, hopefully a good start. I was reflecting on today's talk and thinking about the time about a month ago where I was driving our car, my wife and I were driving a car with our daughter, and she was in the night, and she piped in from the back seat, where do the stars go during the day? Which is a perfectly good question. And so I explained to her, well, you can't see the stars when the sun's out because it's too bright, but they're still there. And then she said, but why can you see the moon? And I said, well, you can see the moon because the moon's really close, and it's close enough that you can still see it even when the sun's out. Well, why can't you see it all the time? And I said, well, because the moon rotates around the Earth. And then she said, swear to God, she said, and the Earth rotates around the sun, right? And I was like, well, where did that come from? You know, had she been reading Galileo or something? So I feel like she's off to a great start on the believing that learning is fun and that asking questions is great. And sometimes it's not always as easy to answer the questions, but it's still worth a try. About a year ago, we were on vacation with our kids, and my son asked me, something like we were talking about being little, and I said, I was little like you once, and he said, do you have a picture? And I said, well, I said, yeah, I've got pictures. He said, do you have one on your camera? Perfectly logical question. And I said, no, back then we didn't have camera phones, but when we get home, I can show you a picture of me when I was little. And he got excited. He said, you can show me a picture of you when you're little? And I said, yes. And he said, and then can you show me a picture of me when I'm big? And of course, the answer to that goes back to anything is possible, especially if you try hard enough, because, of course, if you know those photo aging software that's out there that people use for missing kids, the answer is yes, I could actually, but the literal answer would have been no. So to me, that was a very heartening example of how it's very important to maintain the belief that anything is possible if you try hard enough, because even if it isn't literally true, I wouldn't literally be showing him a picture of him when he was old. I could show him something that would be a simulation of it that would have value in certain situations. So those 3 principles, learning is fun, asking questions is great, and anything is possible, especially if you try hard enough. I find those principles to be great guiding principles, not just for early childhood development, but also for living life. And I hope that as you take something away from today, in addition to those ideas, you think about it in the context of the foundation and the envelopes that you filled out, and how your work and your contributions can really make a difference. I also would encourage you to think about a slightly broader domain, and these are my own thoughts. I'm not speaking on anybody else's behalf. But I am personally troubled when I look out at some of the things that are going on nationally, including the efforts that have been, was a bill that was passed by one House of Congress, House of Representatives, to cut $1 billion out of funding for Head Start, which I remember sort of hearing about it, and then as I was preparing for the speech, I did a little more research. And what that would mean if that happened would be that over 200,000 kids that are in the Head Start program today wouldn't be able to participate in it. And that would be 16,000 schools that wouldn't be operating in the Head Start program. And so to me, in addition to what we do in our local community, in our state, which is the Foundation's focus, I think it's important for us to think, in this case nationally, indeed globally, And I want to read you a short thing from, there was an editorial that I'm sure none of you read, because I hadn't read it until researching this, because it was in the Kansas City Star. It was an opinion piece by a guy named Brian Clark, who wrote the following. As president of the board of directors for Head Start of Shawnee Mission, I've seen firsthand the positive change for society that our public funding enables. Our program, which is near downtown Overland Park, enhances the lives of more than 200 Johnson County children who are living in poverty. A single parent with 2 children can earn no more than $18,510, the federal poverty level, to qualify for our program. As a CPA, Republican, and believer in free market principles, I understand what legislators are trying to achieve by dramatically reducing government spending. However, in the rush to slash spending at the federal and state levels, there's little discussion about which programs and expenditures provide the best returns on investment for society. Please join me in urging our legislators to protect Head Start and Head Start funding because of this exceptional return on investment for society, as well as the program's proven ability to help children succeed, which ultimately benefits us all. So I ask you, and especially if you have Republican friends, such as Mr. Clark, to reach out to those in Congress and tell them, look, in challenging times, early childhood development, especially very successful programs like Head Start, is where we need to be investing for our future. And I believe it may be the case that one phone call won't seem to make a difference, or one letter won't make a difference, but collectively, if we all raise our voices, both to those of us that represent us in Washington State and through our friends and associates all over the country, we can make a difference. Of course, remember, I'm somebody who believes anything is possible, especially if you try hard enough. So thank you all very much today.
Thank you, Rob, and I'm looking forward to finding out what you tell your son in terms of showing him a picture when he's big. The next new innovation. I'd like to bring your attention back to the centerpieces on your table and the silent auction, and hopefully you've had an opportunity to bid on the centerpiece. Remember, all of the monies we collect for the centerpieces goes to support early learning in the state of Washington. So there's a blue form on your table. Please take a moment to put your bid in, and we'll be closing the silent auction in just a few moments. And I'll turn it back over to Vonetta.
Great. Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you for being here. And Rob, thank you for your remarks. It was really, really nice to hear. We actually got a chance to see the video beforehand, and it was delightful. So thank you. And again, happy birthday to your parents. I also want to not only thank you all as supporters, but we really can't do this work without you, and it does take everyone. I also want to thank our amazing staff. We have some great team members who make this come together very well. A number of people said, "Aren't you nervous?" Aren't you? Like, yes, I'm nervous, but that's because of my remarks more than anything. So I really would like to thank the team members of Foundation for Early Learning. We should be looking at Aaron. Where's Aaron? Yay, Aaron. Jenna, where's Jenna? Stage manager. Jenna, thank you so much. Jessica Cothran, she runs this like nobody's business. Thank you so much. Sarah Borgita at the Borgita table. Joel Beleza, the speech writer for us all. Thank you so much. And Doug Coleman, who is looking forward to collecting all of the envelopes, our finance manager. Where's Doug? Great. Thank you so much. We invite you to become a partner. Subscribe to our newsletter and tell people about us. If you look into the program, you'll not only see our numbers, our results. Again, we really believe in meaningful, manageable, and measurable projects. You'll see some results in the booklet. You'll also see some fun activities. And we encourage you to get involved. There's a page called Get Involved, so please do that. You can also subscribe to our newsletter via earlylearning.org, www.earlylearning.org. Someone told me you're going to have to drop the W sometime soon, but for now, www.earlylearning.org. And to connect with us via Facebook And if you're inspired to launch your own early learning program, please consider doing so. Apply for a grant. Think grassroots and Main Street. On your way out, please also take a moment to visit the expo outside of the ballroom. Thank you again for being here. Stay and socialize. Thank you so much, everyone. Take care.